Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. So, I wanted to bring you the Ashbreaker set here. So, this is pretty fantastic. I'm still working on this build, but these things are going to be great. I'm going to discuss the builds you can use this weapon on. But first, how do you get the Ashbreaker? Well, you can use the new store ledger over there at You Need an R to the left of her. If you went, you spoke to her, you said, I don't know where to spend this stuff because it's no longer there. Just back away from her, look to the left of the counter. There's actually a ledger book there. But the main event, the main Moonshine Fleet. This is where you're going to come over and use those buoys that she gives you. Now, you can earn buoys through things such as your little convoys that you see, similar to what you see in the other games. She's going to give you some missions, a daily, hourlies as well that you could run. Pretty similar to what we've seen with the honorless. Now, we do have a better payout of this moonshine than we did those doubloons, mind you. Even in tier 1, you're averaging about 100 moonshine from this event every time you hit it, so that's pretty nice. You can get more, but you're averaging about 100. Now obviously your drop rates in tier 2 are going to be better, and your weapons that you drop from there are going to have those single and double ascensions typically. Now here in tier 1 you can get them without ascensions, but I have actually dropped a few from the boxes that actually had single ascensions on those. Now, it's not only dropping the Ashbreaker, it is also dropping the Kleins from last season, those Klein Cartos, or Katoa, however you want to pronounce it, guys. It's dropping those from this event here as well. It's dropping quite a few different pieces of furniture. You can get the new culvert furniture, you can get the smithy rails, and of course you can get the secret cache. There's probably dropping other stuff, but that's what I've been getting from it. Just about every time I hit it, I end up with a drop for a weapon and a furniture. So I do recommend that you grind this thing out. You're going to be able to go to that store and use some of those moonshine points to buy Nashkers and heliports. So we should not be seeing that asked for in trade anytime soon, because hey, you can get it from this event. This event is going to be repeating every other week. So here's that account ledger, and now I've already spent all mine. I've been buying the Nashker long guns is what I've been buying. I'm going to then start kind of refocusing in. I think we're going to also pick up some deep iron, because I want to have about 2 or 3 of these schooners. I'm sorry, these frigates, and then the deep iron plates. You can pick those up. I think you're better off to buy just the deep iron at 500. I mean, that's, you're going to save a little bit probably buying that, but yeah, you can typically, it's going to be whatever you decide to do. Now, the grain flares also, those are going to be 20 guild points instead of the 50 pieces of 8 we used to see. So they've actually done some reduction in cost on that, so that's going to be great. You can get those clients in Divine Winds here as well still. The Trunion Furnace is dropping, but if you're needing it and wanting it and it's not dropping for you, you can buy it here. It's going to cost you 600 of those moonshine points as well. It just looks like moonshine kegs. You can see it in the top right hand corner. And then, of course, there's a lot of extra things here. So, ill sturdy rope, you're going to need to upgrade your Ashbreakers. You're also going to need Ill's Twine as well. Now, there's going to be some other odds and items, but that is the main thing. Now, if you've been farming the Megafor Oostin with us in Season 1 of Year 2, you probably have plenty of that stuff. Now, I'm going to bring the weapons up here. We're going to discuss weapons. We're going to discuss build out. So I did a build out here on my Sambuck. I did test the weapons on my schooner, and I actually get a higher DPS with my Bombard 5s than I do the Ashbreakers. But of course, you're getting more perks. But I wanted the perks off of this to go toward the ships that it needs to be. So you're looking at Barge, you're looking at Sambuck, and you're looking at Schooner. Managed to drop 8 of these things now. As you can see, I've been ascending them all day, getting these up to par. They have a Marauder perk, which is going to increase that vulnerable up to 40% for every damage, 1% of burning damage you're putting out. You're kicking that charge rate up, so you can do more crew attacks. So you could use the crew attack build that's currently on here. I'm also going to use my ability to be able to have multiple loadouts to have a straight up DPS build as well, that doesn't focus so much on being able to survive now, but it'll be focused on putting out major damage output. I am loving the fact that I can come in and pick my favorite ships and do multiple builds and save it within that arsenal loadout. That is one of the best things they've added in the game, guys. So Fire Bombard 3, 5,085, coming straight in off the perk of Explosive 2 and Burning 1. Now you can add whatever you want to damage value wise. Now we've added the firepower perk, which increases the base of these weapons, because hey man, let's face it, we may end up using on a sloop, we may end up using on a schooner. Not fully decided yet, but this one here I think I'm going to use toward the schooner. I went firepower, and all I could get was amplified explosives. I could not find an amplified burning on this. Now, sometimes you can get amplified burning. The ones I've got on my Sambuck are loaded up with amplified burning. But like I say, this particular one, I had 14 rolls left. Rather than roll them all away, I'm waiting for them to do what they had said they were working on, which is making so we can roll the values when we've locked in the modification that we actually want. When that's coming, I don't know. It was mentioned in one of their production notes, so we'll just have to wait and see when that happens, guys. But still pretty decent. Now, like I say, when I put this on the side of a schooner, we could bring our schooner up here. I seen it did some, about 2,000 more damage as far as for the weapon. It did give the weapon a boost, but it did not give the weapon enough of a boost for me to justify pulling off my Bombard 5, which is all electric. And because this has a lot of explosive on it, I didn't want to run the risk of my fort ship being crippled to the point where it's going to start healing those reactive armors. You got to remember those ships as well. So, and this is just a ship-to-ship build that I've wanted to have, but I want to go ahead and show you those values here as well, just so people could say, well, he didn't show me that value. So right here we have a Bombard 5. Pretty nice looking weapon. We're going to find our fully ascended Ashbreakers, which give us 7,438. So it's actually registering now as just a little bit more, but like I said, I'm sticking with my Bombards. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, because I do have that siege perk. And again, this particular build here is specifically for forts. Now, I may decide to come in and do a build with this thing specifically for ship to ship, or I may decide to throw a siege perk or two on there. We'll have to play around with it a little bit. They're dropping so well. The drop rate is actually about what you need. I recommend that you grind it while it's hot, guys. You're not going to find Ubisoft doing that very often, so make sure you get the weapons while you can. Now, back to the actual builds I recommend on this. The Sambuck is where I've put them to begin with. It does a fantastic job with that burning damage. It does a fantastic job of triggering the blaze effect, whether it's bosses or regular ships as well. We are going to bring our ship up and show you. This is my crew build for a Sambuck. This is the one that allows you to heal a lot. So we've done Ashbreakers all the way around on it. Of course, when you look at your Ashbreaker here, we have the firepower perk. We managed to get a pretty nice roll on that, 11.9. And then, of course, we have amplified burning on there twice. Now, obviously, I would prefer to have had some, God rolls on that, some hot rolls, but I couldn't get it. But I went ahead and I went Ashbreaker all the way around on those things. So that's basically what we're looking at there. Now, this one here is a Divine Wind. This is not what I intended, so I am glad I just scrolled through here. We're going to have to find our Ascended Bombard here and swap that out. There we go. Okay, now on the auxiliary weapon, I've been playing around with the Rural Sentinel. We went ahead and threw firepower on there, and I ended up with an amplified piercing and an amplified explosive. Obviously, I would have preferred explosive on both, but if I see something that's mildly useful, I'll stop and move on to another one to get it where it's at least a little bit better and roll it up. So I managed to get that firepower up to 11.1%, which is going to help with that dazzling and combustion, which is really nice for the shell shock. When you're fighting any kind of boss, it will shell shock a boss very fast. Okay, the combustion too is pretty nice as well. But to me, I'm just not sold on the damage output of this weapon personally. So I'll probably end up switching back over to a Warhammer unless I'm fighting a major boss, because it is nice to be able to silence their cannons for a little bit. When they get on that roll and they just start working through their perk, it's nice to hit them with that. So, still kind of playing around with what we're going to keep on there. Now, on armor, I have switched over to the Buccaneer's Oath for now, because I'm getting a higher charge rate of that vulnerable effect, so I was able to pull that other armor off and go over to this. Now, if you're wondering what that other armor was, it was called, I believe this was it, double check. Yeah, Rally, using a crew attack, increases broadside damage 33%, stamina recovery by 100% for 15 seconds. You can run that if you want to. I typically perk this one here quite a bit more often than I do. I end up blowing up ships more with these weapons than I do actually get to do any kind of crew attack with them, because I've got a little bit more distance between me and them. Now, furniture, we're using the Spike Warhorn, which again, increasing the charge rate of crew attack by 10%. Scrapper Station for the 8,000 whole heal. Lestari Trophy, increasing our acceleration, increasing the weight limit ability, but more or less to increase the crew attack damage by 7%. Strange Elixir, like I say, this is for my crew attack build. I will be switching a lot of these things, and we'll bring you that video later, guys. But Strange Elixir is going to increase the crew ability range by 25%. When stamina is above 50%. So typically make sure if you're not quite able to reach them, just pop a piece of food. It's going to increase your stamina, and you should be able to reach them because it increases the range by 25%, and that is not negligible. That's pretty good. That's actually a pretty good perk to have on there. Ramrod Workshop, decreasing reload time of broadside weapons by 7 and increasing the secondary damage value. So that's another good one. Now, if you remember right, the secondary damage value of this is explosive. So this is something that you definitely want to have on a schooner build. If you're going to put those weapons on a schooner, they would do fantastic on that schooner. They're going to do great on a barge as well. I plan on building my schooner out with them, and I plan on finishing off my barge as well with these weapons. While they drop, you may as well do it while it's hot. And of course, the gunpowder bench, increasing damage to enemy ships with the ablaze effect by 10%. So every time a blaze triggers, which is pretty often, you're going to get that extra effect. So very versatile weapon. You're going to see it work on multiple ships now. You could potentially put that on a frigate. The reason I've not put it on a frigate is because then you're sacrificing some of your gun slots. Now, as top deck weapon, you get 6. If you're using all deck weapons, you are getting 13. So it's up to you how you want to do that. They do have pretty good damage values, but I'm getting damage values out of a build I'm kind of playing around with, and I will not be sharing that build, unfortunately, on YouTube at all, or even in the community. You will have to get with Why So Serious, because that is his build that I'm running on my frigate, and I tell you what, it is a beast. It is definitely something. So I would definitely be popping over there and seeing if you can get him talked into sharing that build if you want to. So alright, guys, that is what I've got for you tonight, and we're going to be doing some builds on those Nashkers. I've been snagging those like hotcakes over there with the points. The reason I'm doing that is I want to work on some Garuda builds and some other things like that in the future. And that was the one long gun that I did not have because I did not make that event. But we've been able to make it up. So I've been able to do just fine without them, but it was nice to see that come in. You also have Naga's Call for all of those who want to use those culverins. They do a great job. You pin that up with that new culverin furniture, you're going to have a very sweet ship no matter what you put that thing on. So we'll catch everybody later.